Hello, everybody, and welcome to another replay analysis. You fucking on the edge of your seat yet? You should be, because guess what? We got Special versus Serral. This shit is hype, okay? This is requested by our boy Plasmid. Let's just jump into it right now, shall we? What a replay. Alright, that's over. Serral already won. If Special ever watches this, he'll be like, fuck you, ViBE. No, Special's really good. I actually used to be on a team with Special. On Six Jacks and on Root Gaming. And, yeah, the guy's fucking insane. I always felt really proud of myself if I ever took a game off him, because he was absolutely insane every time I played him. But anyways, if I had to, going into this, I would say obviously Serral is a little bit of the favorite because Serral is an absolute god. Like, not only is he the best foreigner, or has been for a little bit, it might not be as much nowadays because he's not as dominant as he was last year. But he went through a year-long period where he was not only the best foreigner, but he was the best player overall, including Koreans in StarCraft, in my opinion. He has the ability to be the world's best player. Special, I would say, not at that level yet, but definitely still one of the best foreigners overall. He's absolutely insane, but Serral is just like on a whole god tier level, which is absolutely nuts. Anyways, going into the replay, okay? We got some Zerg versus Terran. We have a hatch first going into a gas pool. Very, very, very standard for Serral. We have a Reaper expand coming out of Major. There will be a command center thrown down after the orbital command. With a Reaper getting ready to scout. This looks like it's probably going to be a Hellion opener after the Reaper. It doesn't have to be, but it most likely will be. It's a solid build. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. I really do love that this is how it's going to for Serral. It's something small and minor, but he's not removing drones off the mineral line. And his new drones that are spawning are periodically saturating the gas, which is one. Here, I'm going to pause it really fast, and I'm just going to give you a brief explanation of why this is important. He's maximizing his minerals as hard as he can, and he's delaying his gas a little bit in the process of doing this. He didn't rip drones off to take fast gas. Like, as soon as it was done, he didn't have 3 on it. And the reason why is because he's most likely going to be making defensive speedlings. He's not going to be doing a baneling all-in. He's not going to be doing a roach all-in. It's defensive banes. I have not watched this game, by the way, so I don't know what actually happens here. Just throwing that out there. But this looks like it's a defensive opener, and it wouldn't surprise me if Serral decides to take a third here pretty soon and just defend bases and make drones. So it makes a lot of sense because the mineral saturation that he has is going to do nothing other than speed up his third while having queen production and lings. Everything that costs minerals, basically. It's not going to delay anything. I really like it. It's super intelligent. I do this myself, and it has that logic behind it, and I assume that's why Serral's doing it as well. Serral is a absolute genius, and it reinforces my, my thoughts on this opener. Just something minor like that. It just reinforces it, seeing him doing it as well, because it just feels super effective. It feels like, why wouldn't you do that? I hate watching Zergs prioritize their gas so hard and then not getting aggressive. Alright, now we have a Reaper attacking. We have the... So yeah, we have... this is what I said for Major 2. It's a Hellion expand. Reaper expand into Hellions. Super standard build. Third command center. We should see a third base. There it is from Serral. Easy peasy. Serral's actually prioritizing a third a little bit faster and delaying the queens a little bit. And he's also missing an eject by prioritizing a second tumor now. Or was this the first tumor? Did he actually... Hold on. He didn't actually do a first inject. He did a tumor right away. His first queen and put a tumor down. I don't mind it. If he goes for a third this fast, I don't mind it. I like the queen placement. That's if the Reaper ever tries to jump up there. It's good. Why does my music stop? I don't know. But, yeah. Serral's coming in to scout. He sees a reactor with the barracks still. He didn't actually see the natural, though. He's gonna most likely assume that there's a natural here. But I would have actually loved it if he would have just like moved his Overlord 1 pixel further to the right. Just one pixel. Because if he seriously scouted like there, he would have seen the command center. So, but he can assume that there is a command center there, but still, this is kind of risky. Not confirming that it's there. We'll see how long it takes him to confirm it. But, hold on. However, even though he didn't confirm that it's there, he did do a nice scout along the bottom side. He, like, every single bit of the map he's discovered here is less of a chance that he's getting proxied or something like that. But this is still kind of blacked out. And this down here is still kind of blacked. Or, really, this is scouted before. Just this is blacked out. And so is this. There's very limited areas. This is probably the most scary one. But if there was potentially, like, a 2-base all-in, and Serral just kind of, like, assumed... But he can see a mule in the fog. That's fucking weird. Even though if Serral assumed there was a natural here, and let's just say Major was doing some weird-ass, like, super weird all-in, this could be a game where it's, like, an oversight, where you're like, oh, shit, I didn't realize this was happening, and now I'm dead. And I do normally commend Serral on his, like, god-tier scouting, but I think missing the natural is a big blunder. Even though nothing's happening, I think that's a big deal. You're giving yourself a little bit of a chance now to have something random happen and kill you. And we're getting to a point where it's getting kind of late. Yeah, this is scary. He's just assuming. Anyways, everything's fine. Nothing happened. Special did not do an all-in, but we're almost at 5 minutes, and we haven't even confirmed if there truly is a natural yet. Maybe Serral actually saw a fucking mule in the fog like this. I don't know how he's seeing these things. Honestly, I really don't understand that. But maybe he actually moved his screen over here and went, oh, look, a fucking mule. We're fine. How the fuck is he seeing this? I don't know. But, yeah. Okay. Anyways, Serral, we'll talk about the builds now. We'll move on from the scouting thing. So he resaturated his gas with like 2-base saturation. He's going into a Carapace upgrade before a layer. This is interesting. Very interesting opener, because the reason why is because I think it would actually be great against like a battlecruiser opener, for instance, because by the time a second BC gets to your base, you'll have Carapace, and Carapace is actually huge at dealing with BCs. It would actually help your queens absorb a lot more damage from a BC, basically. And your drones, it'll like, obviously if your drones sit under a BC, they'll still die, but it will help them if they get tagged a little bit, have less of a chance to die. It just helps your units absorb more, because BCs hit so fast. But the one thing that's kind of weird, though, is we don't know it's BC yet. And I actually feel like this opener would be really weak against, like, a battle mech opener. Like, if let's just say Special went for, like, Hellion Cyclone, I don't think this build would do very well. Because you're not going to have Roaches. You're not going to have Banes. You're going to have Carapace Lings, and Carapace Lings get absolutely shit on by Hellions and Hellbats anyways. Like, they're actually kind of... If it's only a couple Hellbats and they're really spread out, it's not bad. But if it's like a lot of Hellbats, or if it's like just Hellions in general that keep kiting and killing creep, it's, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan, personally. Or if it was like double factory Hellions, even, which is something that's not really common anymore. Well, let's just say it was. I would be pretty scared for Serral. I do like that he's getting a Baneling Nest, though. If he's going to commit to this, I do like the Bane Nest. So that kind of makes it less scary now. Who am I to doubt the god? Now we got a layer coming up. Alright, so he's about to confirm that it is definitely not going to be like double factory. It's no longer battle mech. It might still be like a Hellbat push with Marines, as far as he knows. Because having Marines out in the front like this, I'm just gonna throw this out there. Seeing Marines like this, guys, it kind of tells you this is most likely not going to be a 2-1-1. Because if it was a 2-1-1, these Marines would have already either been in medevacs, or there would be a lot more of them if they were walking across the map. This is kind of late for a 2-on-1 to hit you as well. So seeing 5 Marines right now is really awkward. And if I were Serral right now, I would be thinking to myself, there's a very high chance that there is going to be battlecruisers, and there's also a very high chance, or sorry, I didn't mean to say battlecruisers. There's a very high chance that there is going to be Hellbats with this, or Hellions. And on top of that, Hellbat Marine openers just pair up really well with starports. So if I was Serral, even though I don't actually see what he's doing entirely, I would be throwing down spores right now, which is exactly what he's doing. Because Hellbat openers with bio are 1-1-1 openers, which means they're going to have a starport unit, and this starport unit could be anything. And if it is in fact going to be a battlecruiser, which we can see it clearly is, but if it is going to be a battlecruiser, you're going to need these spores or you're fucking dead. But he's already building 3 spores. So we'll go to the point when he actually starts building them, and we'll discuss why. And it's because of lack of scouting, I can already tell you that. But we'll just see exactly when he does it. So he's starting spores right now. We're on the wrong person's vision. We're starting spores right now, and we can see this is why he's doing it. Okay, you can, if you notice, we have a main that is kind of under scouted, and there's a reactor and a barracks that we saw earlier, which we don't know yet because we haven't seen the Marines yet. We don't know yet if the fucking thing is still on it or not. But what we do know is that there is a gas here. We have scouted a gas at the natural. And you don't make a gas at your natural this fast if you're going for a 2-on-1. So 2-on-1, again, is already ruled out. Like, you're not just going to fucking go 3 gases and go for Marine production. You're also not going to go really, really, really heavy Hellions if you're going to get a gas at your natural this early. Usually, you're going to probably... Or, you know what? It's fucking late, though. How early did you scout this? 1 second. I need to say that, really. Because I don't want to give you guys bad information. Hold on. When did he scout this? It's actually kind of late now, again. I'm gonna give you new analysis. New analysis. You see these lings running out? And so the gas scratch that. I actually thought he scouted that way earlier. I thought this gas was turned down earlier than it was. But it's actually pretty fucking standard to take the gas after you start your first BC for Terran. If you're doing a build like just in general, this is late enough to have your fucking your natural's fully saturated on mineral line. Taking double gas like this is totally fine. The only time you wouldn't really do it is if you're going like really heavy bio. And you had like 5 racks right now. But here's the bigger thing that tells you if he's not going bio. It's at 5 minutes right now, and we have a nice juicy Overlord scout up here. We have a nice Zelnaga tower. We have a shitload of coverage of vision on the top, and we have lings covering the bottom and the middle. There is literally nowhere the medevacs can go that cannot be spotted. And you can see he's patrolling his lings too, just to keep more coverage of the area. No medevac crosses his lings by the like 505, 510, and he then goes, you know what? Time to figure out what the fuck you're doing because you have not confirmed to me that you're going 2-on-1. And now he sees gas Hellion. This right now goes, okay, well, you're not hitting me with 2 medevacs with bio right now. This guarantee, even though I haven't really scouted your base and I haven't really seen what the hell's happening, this guaranteed is not a 2-on-1 anymore. And Hellion gas definitely tells me that you have tech going on right now. This could be mech entirely. This also could just be a starport, like a 1-1-1 starport opener with Hellion pressure. This is a perfect time to make spores because of what he's seen now. Because this guarantees that there is going to be a starport. Because there is gas here, this is not going to be just like 100 Hellions. It's an exaggeration, but what the real number would be more like 16. It's not going to be like double reactored Hellions off of 3 gases. You know what I mean? And you can assume that he has double gases in his main if you rushed a reactor in a factory and starport. It just seems common, you know, like it seems likely. So making spores soon now would be a good idea. He gets rid of the Reaper, and then it takes a few seconds, gets his gases going, and then starts spores. It's intelligent because he didn't scout a 2-on-1, and what's going to happen if you don't get 2-on-1? What's the only other build, really? Especially if you see Hellions, it's going to be a tech-based opener with factory and possibly starport. So he's covering his ass right now by getting those spore colors. Alright, and now we have a battlecruiser teleporting in. So good spore timing overall. Carapace should be almost done. It's done in the next like 15-20 seconds. Queens are kind of... I'm actually pretty impressed with... not really impressed. I'm just kind of like surprised by the shove of queens in the front and only a couple of queens in the main. He already lost a queen too. That's a queen that died right there. Yeah, there were three queens committed to the main, and 4 queens committed to the front of his base. This is after he already knew the battlecruiser had teleported, because he pulled the drones and then sent them back, and these queens committed out here. I feel like maybe he did this because he just didn't have Banes yet. I think that's what makes sense. And you can notice too, he's also splitting up his Banes a little bit. So he has Banes in position to defend both possible entrances to his base. I like that. But this is bold as fuck, dude. If I was him, like obviously I'm not trying to say I'm better than Serral, but if I was in this situation, I would definitely make a little bit more lings right now, and I would get my queens in the main, all of them in the main, to shove the BC away as fast as possible, because I feel like if you don't get rid of the first BC's health, or if you don't tag the first BC enough, by the time a second BC comes out and joins it, it becomes 100 times more difficult to deal with. I think you need to make the first BC weak enough to fall back to be repaired, or to, or if it stays, to be like less than half hit points. It's been tagged a little bit, but this is, I don't know, it's bold as fuck. And maybe Serral does it like this, where he splits his queens up, because he's more confident in his queens if they have Carapace, which is about to finish. He's doing a good job, though. Even with only a couple queens here, he's doing a good job. And the queens are still in the front. This is ballsy, dude. I like it, but it seems ballsy. He scouts at third base with his overseer, because he sees the gas now. And now he scouts, he's up against Mech. See how he reacts against it. I love Neural Parasite. I love that he's going Neural Parasite really early. He is, however, going Zergling. Okay, never mind, just kidding. There's a Roach Horn coming down. I was going to say, I'm going to be really surprised, though, if he goes Neural Parasite, Ling Bane. Very awkward composition to go for, especially if it's like Thor Hellbat, Thor Hellion, and like BC, or something like that. Or like, I don't know. Just a lot of Hellions would make this kind of awkward, unless you got like a super sweet fungal Baneling hit or something like that. But he's not. He's going into Roach Horn too. I think this is a lot safer. I like it a lot more. I think going Ling Bane as an opener was fine so far. And I think his +1 Carapace opener was not... He didn't do it because he's like, you're definitely going to go for a BC opener. I think it's just a build that Serral thinks is well-rounded enough to deal with anything. And I do think this opener would actually be really good against Bio. I think this opener is... If I had to say what I think like percentages of how effective it would be, this build is probably geared like 60% or like 65% towards Bio, like a 2-on-1 opener, or like a marine tank type opener. But it's probably a little less geared towards, it's like a little less effective, but it's still good enough against like more mech based openers, because the Carapace doesn't really do a whole lot against Hellion based openers. Like a lot of Hellions, it will still shit on your Zerglings pretty hard, and all the Carapace really does is it delays your gas expenses, like roaches or layer or something like that. But you can still get by with Banes and good creep spread, which is what he has. But yeah, I think this build definitely works better against Bio, but it still can transition well against a mech. I really like, though, that he's not continuing the Carapace. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And now that he knows it's mech, he's going into melee and range weapons, and now he's going to go into roaches and infestors. They're really good. I like it so far a lot. And then Major just going mech, you know. He opened up with BCs. He took a this is a really quick fucking third. But I don't really mind it, because there's really no way he can get punished for it, because he knows he's up against a bunch of Lings, and so far, and all he's made so far is Hellions. He has actually not made any Cyclones or anything like, or tanks or anything like that, which would actually be weaker if he has less of an army. A bunch of Hellions will easily shit on a bunch of Lings off creep, So I like it. They're both playing really well. And now he's going to start switching into more tech lab based units, especially since the tech switch is coming out of Serral. Perfect timing for Special to do this. He's got to be very careful with these Hellions though, because infestors are about to spawn. See, this is kind of what I'm talking about. This is what I'm scared about. So 2 BCs now, and the queens are still spread out. We'll see what damage Special can get done, because right now he could literally double tap 2 queens right now, or he could tap out 2 queens right now with 2 Yamato cannons. And then this mineral line might take a big fucking beating. But hold on. I'm gonna do this in my games. Serral, why are you so goddamn smart? Goddamn, Serral, you wow. Serral's a freaking genius, guys. Here's why. You guys might be like, ViBE, why are you having a gasm right now? What's happening? So, as I just said a second ago, I was like, alright, why the fuck? Serral's crazy, because he's fighting 1 BC, and, you know, that's a little scary, because if you, like, the whole reasons why I explained earlier, if you don't get it down enough, and you don't make it retreat, if it groups up with the 2nd BC, and it's still there, and really able to be effective while your queens are spread out, you're going to be fucked, dealing with 2 BCs in your middle line if your queens are still spread out. But what Serral does, the smart man he is, he doesn't rush 2 spores in his mineral line really early against the 1st BC, because realistically you totally can deal with the 1st BC with a couple of queens and a spore. It's just that you got to be scared of a 2nd BC, because if they, like again, I just explained it. But what Serral does though is he delays the 2nd spore to have more economy faster, because if he built 2 right away when he built his 1st one, he would delay his economy a little bit because he's not fully saturated yet. But what he does is he adds on a 2nd spore like a full minute later when he then is fully saturated, so it's much less impactful by building the spore then at hurting his own economy. And now when a 2nd BC shows up, like it just did, he has 2 fucking spores in the mineral line, which is now way more durable at dealing with double BC if his queens are still spread, which they are. This is genius. Super good. The one hole that I just said he has in his opener, he's filled in by adding in a 2nd spore, and the trade-off is he shoves his creep way more aggressively because his queens are still so aggressive. Some of his queens are still really aggressive on the map, which are shoving Hellions back and throwing more tumors down. It's fucking super smart. Serral's a genius. What a guy. So yeah, the BC is really not getting what they want to get done. Serral has... This is some well-timed defense. And the supply is definitely telling you the story here. Even though a whole lot hasn't happened yet. A whole lot hasn't happened yet. Even the guys, even though it says he's lost 28 units, this is super standard. It's a Hellion BC opener. This is a very standard situation right now. To be in for Zerg, where you lose 1,000 minerals to the Terran's only lost 100. But yet, the Zerg is still ahead. Or wait, what? No, he's not. Just kidding. Take it back. I still love it, though. Still really good. Major's actually playing out of his mind as well, though. They're both playing really well. For some reason, I thought this said Serral. I was about to commend Serral on the fact that he's ahead in supply. Be like, what a fucking guy. But this looks a little more standard. Hellions are basically the Terran version of roaches. They're really good early on, but they start to really suck ass later on. They're just fodder, basically, later on. They don't really kill anything. Alright. Now, in terms of economy, both players doing amazingly well. We have Ravagers coming out of Serral. Interesting. I don't do this. I'd like to see how he uses them. maybe he neural parasites and like just corrosive bile, or like neural parasites and then throws biles on it to kill it quickly. That would work. What? Okay, that wasn't good. Serral, a little bit of a missed opportunity there. So what I think should have happened. This is what I think should have happened. Okay, it just makes more sense. I'm a neural fanatic. Okay, I like to think about neural a lot. But imagine if this happened. Okay, watch. Both VCs are neuraled right now. This is a 11-second timer on neural. This is what I think should have happened. The second he was neuraled, immediately it should have been Yamato. Make both VCs Yamato each other. And the second they're done doing that, teleport them right here. And the second they're done doing that, you corrosive bile, or even if you don't even corrosive bile, if you did corrosive bile, they're all dead. But let's just say you don't corrosive bile, and you auto attack with your queens. They would still die. And you also, the other thing that he missed out on is he doesn't make the Terran unit attack itself. And a BC, believe it or not, does more damage to itself than a queen does to it. This is a big missed opportunity here because he could have literally lost nothing and killed both BCs. Like, he's doing nothing with the BCs. So that's a bit of a missed opportunity there. He really, like, I really would have loved to have seen him do a little more. And then he teleports at the last second, and now what happens is the teleport, like the warp in, the neural ends during the warp in because it's going to run out of time. And then he tries to cast Yamato Cannon, but now it's too late for this one. So this one gets a free Yamato on a Zerg unit. Just kidding. He actually Yamato'd the other one before it Yamato'd the Zerg unit. But now we still have a BC that gets away for free. And there was 2 infestors that died. Or how many died? I want to look at this again. How many Zerg units died to the auto attack? One infestor dies. Just one infestor died. So one infestor dies and one BC gets away. Yeah, not good. Definitely could have had a little bit more priority. So, like, in terms of using Zerg units, Serral did that amazingly. In terms of using the Terran units when knurled, Serral missed the beat on that one pretty hard. He didn't really do anything with the BCs until the last fucking second. And you might be asking yourself, ViBE, it's not that big of a deal. Kind of is, though. Because we could have actually just saved an extra infestor and killed an extra BC, and now it went the opposite way. And if you don't really use your neural parasite effectively in bigger fights as well, you will literally lose big fights. You want to know what the best unit at killing a Terran mech, like, you know, this is the best thing that kills Terran mech is Terran mech. Just throwing that one out there. I'm not even kidding. It's not Zerg bias because I'm a Zerg player. It's legit. You know what kills Thors faster than anything else that Zerg has? A fucking another Thor. Have you guys seen what it looks like when you have 5 Thors auto attack 1 Thor? It just insta dies. I really, really like the positioning up here. He almost didn't have enough. He'll probably cast one now because he just got enough energy. But this is super good. I really like the cliff flank because if he actually had energy when he first got here, when he wanted to do it, he could have fungled like there. And these units would all be dead except for this one Hellion in the back, guaranteed. But now that they're getting a little bit further away, this might not kill as much because now he's off creep. But still, the plan, the idea, the unit positioning is super smart. Yeah, he's still going to kill them all anyways. Really, really, really well done. Serral has very good, you know, awareness and foresight to put infestors like that. Super smart, super good. And for Special, that really kind of sucks. And the reason why that sucks is because if you lose an army like that, what just died over here, you lose control of the map. Because that was actually kind of a juicy army. That was like 30 supply or like 36 supply. It was a pretty decent amount of units. And right now, if Serral were to do something like, let's say, scout this, if he just found this really fast, there is nothing Special could do to defend it. It would die. So losing an army like that is like, it's either, you have two ways to kind of do it as Zerg. One is you just take the win and you don't really try to commit to something on the Terran's base, but instead you just kind of like try to make sure you zone him and you prepare something that's coming next, like your creep spread with a tech transition. You just try to, like, you try to control and consume more of the map. Or you can do it another way where you kind of open yourself up a little bit and you might try to scout some stuff and you might try to launch a bit of a counterattack. But in doing that, you also might run into something kind of bad. It happens sometimes. But right now, so you can see Serral's starting to scout. He's looking for bases. He's scouting more of the map here and there. He hasn't yet seen this one on the bottom right, but he's about to. There you go. Serral is honestly just a god of scouting all the time. He always scouts shit when it's important. I like the Nidus. I actually do this all the time myself against BCs. And the reason why, before Serral even does this, I'm going to tell you why Nidus is so important against BCs. A lot of people think about Nidus in the way it's where it's like, oh, I'm going to get an Overlord over here, and I'm going to Nidus his base, and I'm going to kill his base with a bunch of queens. I'm just going to get in his base, and I'm going to kill it. Sure, you know, it's possible. That could happen. But the beautiful thing about Nidus Worm is that your infestors can literally catch BCs and send them wherever the fuck you want. And here's an example, okay? Here's an example. Let's say, hypothetically, he's got 4 battlecruisers, and I have 6 infestors, okay? I got 6 infestors, he's got 4 battlecruisers. And I have enough energy to neural parasite 8 times out of my 6 infestors. What I can do, and let's just say my corruptors are here, for instance. I'm about to attack this base. I'm out of position, basically. I'm over here. I'm going to attack this base. And there's a Nidus Worm up here. Where the fuck is his actual main Nidus? It's right here, okay. His Nidus Worm is right here. And then he has an exit right here. And again, the corruptors are way down here. And he's like, oh shit, BCs are attacking me. What you could do is you could actually make a Nidus Worm right before. You could have your corruptors next to an exit on the other side of the map already, and you could make an exit right before the BCs, where they're gonna go. Like, I could start a Nidus Worm right there, and BCs are coming this direction, right? I could have burrowed infestors coming right here, and as soon as the BCs get like right here, they get closer to my base, I could neural parasite all of them, wait for the Nidus to finish by allowing my neural parasite to kind of run its course. I could make the BCs Yamato each other, and then just wait till like maybe 2 seconds left on the neural parasite, and then teleport them into my other exit of my Nidus and where my corruptors are. If my corruptors, again, were out of position, which now they're no longer out of position, now they're in position. And let's say I only have like 6 corruptors. I don't have enough to really overwhelm the BCs here. It's still kind of scary. I could then, as soon as I teleport the BCs, walk my infestors into the Nidus Worm and then re-exit them immediately and re-neural him. And now suddenly I have a new neural where my corruptors are. It's so fucking good to use Nidus against BC builds, because you can rotate BCs around into your air units. And I really like that Serral's doing this. This is so fucking good. I hope he does it like that, because it's so fucking strong. ViBE, what if Yamato Cannon is on cooldown and you don't have enough corruptors? An auto attack is still useful. You can still make his beast. You can literally go like this. Green box, hold shift, A click, A click, A click, A. Just click his BCs as quick as you can, all 4 of them. And suddenly all of his BCs are like just shooting each other. And then you just let that damage happen. And a BC is not going to be attacking a Zerg unit if it's neuroparasited. So you're basically fighting against 4 BCs with 4 BCs and 6 corruptors or something like that. That's exactly what I just was saying. Where if you know you don't have enough corruptors to overpower the BC count he currently has, well, you have to take into account that you're using his own BCs to kill his own BCs as well. I'm not telling you to Yamato cannon and that's it, and you just don't ever do anything else and you just sit there and look at him. You can fucking attack his own units with his own units because they do have an auto attack. It's very easy to kill units that are knurled if you attack himself with them and also attack him with your own units. It's just and I, like, you know, I'm not really going to repeat what I just said as well with the whole process of what is going on with how you want to do it. But if you do it like that, it is so fucking effective. Because you literally eliminate BCs from flying around the side of the map. It is like a hard counter to playing like that with BCs. It's different. Not neural parasite. Fungal growth and corrosive bile on BCs. It works because the BC is super fucking slow. And fungaling it is most likely going to hit it. I get it. I get it. It's not how I would play it, but I get it. But everyone has a different style. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not what I would prefer. Oh. So yeah, he's really not using the Niduses for infestors like I was talking about yet. He's using them for Swarmhost. So he can rotate his units around the map and circumvent as much army as possible while killing bases with Swarmhost Locust, which is totally fine. I like that he's... I don't mind that he has 2 spires upgrading double upgrades. I like that he's at least getting Carapace though. What I was gonna say is, if I had to pick and choose one upgrade, if you only had 1 spire, for instance, I would definitely pick the Carapace upgrade over the weapon upgrade against a BC style. But he's getting both, so it's good. If you can afford both, you should totally get both. He's still getting weapon attack and on range and melee at the same time. And it's because he's prioritizing Locust with Swarmhost. It's not because he's going Ravager. It's still obviously going to help Ravager a little bit, but it's definitely because of the Locust. Different style. That's not what I do. It's kind of interesting watching someone else's perspective on how to deal with this kind of stuff. I like that he's kind of keeping units around the map burrowed as well for Nidus vision too. He could just plop down a Nidus right here if he really wanted to and throw another wave of Locust at this base. And for Special, he's still making supporting units, but he's kind of climbing the BC count pretty fast. He's already got how many? He's got 9. I really think that the bigger the BC count gets, the more that Infestor Nidus rotation shit is required. Okay, so this is something that I've tried to... So here, I'm going to throw this out there. I don't go Ravagers and Swarmhost against a mech like this. I normally go for Skyzerg units with Spellcasters, and if I get anything on the ground that's not a Spellcaster, It's Zerglings. And the only reason why I make Zerglings is to counterattack bases. I don't really make Zerglings to fight armies of Hellbats and Hellions. Now, with that being said, I have tried this as well, where I shove spores forward on the map, and doing the style that I just said is always such a pain in the fucking ass to keep spore crawlers alive. Because the only thing realistically that I have to keep my spore crawlers alive is broodlords. And if the Terran player is really smart at multi-prong pushing my spores and stuff, if I try to shove spores in multiple areas, I always start losing my spores because broodlords can only be in one place at one time. And they're super slow. So I kind of stopped doing stuff like this, even though I think this is really effective. And I want to see how good Serral can defend his spore shoves, because he's going up against soon-to-be mass BCs. I want to see how well he defends his spores against cyclones and shit like that, because he also has Ravagers and Roaches in his army still. He doesn't have a lot of Roaches, but he does have Ravagers. He has 8 of them. Okay, that was pretty sexy. That was pretty sexy. You can't really dodge a fungal when you're, or dodge a, you can't teleport when you're fungled, and you also can't really dodge a bile when you're fungled. I actually really like that. I want to watch that fight again. Because I agree. I think Serral had some sexy shit going on here, but I think he made a mistake by knurling. Not gonna lie. I just want to watch it again. He doesn't really have enough corruptors to fight this, but he did just get the BCs to stack really hard. Because he engaged with the corruptor, and then pulled back, and all the BCs started like, you know, collapsing on top of each other. This is really, really sexy at first. That fungal, when they're stacked, is so juicy. And he gets really good biles on this. And he wipes out a bunch of the BCs. But what I would have liked more, I think, I'm not even kidding, I want to watch the infestors too. He walks his infestors way too far forward. I'm going to say right now, it's not easy to micro this. It's not easy to micro this. But he could have won this fight so fucking hard had he not wasted the infestors. He already lost one infestor right there. That's that corpse on the ground that's burning right now. That is an infestor. And look at the rest of the infestors. Watch them. Look at all the energy they have. Dead. Dead. He gets 3 knurls off at the end, but he lost like 3 infestors with energy. I think what I would have really liked... Let me blow your guys' minds for a fucking second here, okay? Okay. So, let me throw an idea out there. This is going to be thinking outside the box. And I'm looking at chat right now, and a lot of them are a bunch of naysayers, and they're like, ViBE, Serral's the best Zerg in the world. Who are you to criticize anything he does? And, you know, that's a valid statement. 100%. Serral is a god of Zerg, and he is much better than me. But I can definitely see improvements on anyone's gameplay, myself included. And I don't think that this fight was executed the best. I think the opener of the fight was fucking incredible. But I think the rest of the fight was not the greatest. These are like panic knurls. And he does not have enough corruptors to win the fight, which is partly why he's knurling. But what's happening now is he's foregoing the ability to use... Like, his army is pretty heavily designed to take advantage of corrosive bile. There's a fuckload of Ravagers here. And now that he's no longer going to be using corrosive bile, or sorry, he's no longer going to be using fungal growth, which means corrosive bile is kind of irrelevant now, because he doesn't have enough infestors to neuroparasite all the BCs. So if and the time of the cooldown, 4 seconds from now, for the next round of corrosive bile, these BCs that are not knurled could just kind of fly forward, or they could even Yamato cannon the infestors or the corruptors and free the BCs that are knurled. Like it's also wait. Are the BCs that are the BCs that are knurled don't actually have Yamato ready? So I was about to say he could also be even Yamato cannoning his own BCs with his other BCs, but they're off. They are on cooldown, so it doesn't matter. Anyways, think about it like this, okay? Imagine with me, if you will. Right now, did he know BCs were coming this way? He did. His swarm host saw BCs. I think his Zergling might also have saw BCs. He sees BCs down here. He's coming with the direction. He's coming over here with his army with the intention to fight BCs, right? He's getting his army situated. He knows BCs are over here. And the swarm hosts are coming down. He sees BCs again, right now. That's why the Yamato's on cooldown. This is what I would love to have seen. I'm not even kidding. Bear with me, if you will. Watch this. Watch his army. I'll tell you what I would love. So he's, you know, he sees the BC still. This is a fucking amazing Zergling, by the way. He's got some shit going on up here. Okay. So he actually didn't 100%. I'm not going to critique him too hard on this because he didn't actually know the BCs were still going to be down here because the last time he saw them, they were going this way on the Zergling. And that might mean they were going up to the top. That might mean they were just going to the right. That might mean they were going around the bottom again. You don't know. But here's what I would love to have seen. The second you know you're going to take an engagement against BCs, as soon as you fucking know, okay? All you have to do is just know, okay, BCs are over here. Make a Nidus Worm right behind where your army is right now. Like, really close to where your army is. Like, a Nidus right there would be perfect. Just make it. It's super cheap, and it might make you have a god tier fight. And then, from here, he can do what he did, where he, you know, he's like, oh shit, there's the BCs! He backs up. He fungals. He gets the juiciest fucking corrosive biles of his life, but the infestors stay near the Nidus. They keep periodically fungling, but these BCs are so stacked, and BCs are already really slow, and when they're fungled, they're incredibly slow. A BC has less than 1 move speed when it's fucking fungled. And an infestor moves at 3 move speed, a little bit more than 3 move speed. An infestor can easily catch up to a BC while fungled and throw a new fungal at it. So if his infestors were just a little bit further back right now, because he is setting up this fight like this, it would mean that he would basically never lose the ability to throw a fungal growth at his opponent. And what he could do is he could throw out the first fungal like he did, but his infestors would still be here, not way the fuck up in the front. Like, one infestor would be there that just fungled, basically. He throws out a bunch of biles. He shits all over the BCs with corrosive bile like he just did. And then what happens is he periodically keeps throwing one fungal, one fungal, one fungal. And he keeps the corruptors bashing on the, like, if the corruptors are still bashing on the BCs after they're battered down like this, you can probably pop a couple more BCs pretty quick. Meanwhile, you still have fungal, fungal, fungal. You're still chaining fungals on the BCs because you easily could have. He had fucking 6 infestors with a lot of energy, guys. He had like 12 fungals ready to go here because they all had a lot of energy. What happens is if you chain a fungal, he can't teleport. And if he commits really hard to moving forward and going, fuck your fungal, I'm going to Yamato cannon your infestors so that you can't, so that I can eventually get out of your stupid fungal growths and I can teleport away. Because if a fungal keeps hitting him, he will lose these BCs. Because all it takes is for the next round of corrosive bile while they're still fungled, and now they're all going to die. One juicy round of corrosive bile on the top part of these BCs, they're all dead. And if the BCs commit to the point, like they just fly really slow forward to go, let's cast Yamato Cannon. Guaranteed, if you threw a Nidus down before the fight started, it would be done now. And if you start hearing the you know, whatever the fuck, the Yamato Cannon noise, and you're like, oh, he's Yamatoing me. Walk into the Nidus Worm. Just for a second. Throw like throw one fungal right as you get ready to walk in the Nidus Worm. Just one fungal and then jump in the Nidus with all 6 infestors. All the Yamatos go whiff. And then you re-unload the Nidus Worm and re-fucking fungal him again. And suddenly, now he loses all the BCs. Like, it just feels like that would be a smarter way to use this army if his army is based around fungal corrosive bile combo. Neural Parasite is, I don't think, what he should be going for here. I think these are panic neurals, and it doesn't really do anything because he doesn't really have enough corruptors to make it useful anyways. All that's going to happen is these BCs are going to fly at him and just overwhelm everything. I mean, more corruptors come over and help reinforce the fight, so whatever. And now Serral's not even going for infestors at all anymore. I guess he doesn't really care about the infestor. Like, it's not really going to be his go-to all-game situation type thing. But I feel like there's a lot of opportunity with that kind of an army, and that that actually could even beat a lot of BCs. Like, if he was fighting against like 15 BCs, I actually think that army of corrosive bile plus fungal growth is actually insanely powerful. Like, I'm pretty blown away at how good that was, because I actually didn't really ever think about how fucking slow a BC would be while fungaled. It's insane. That's super good, super effective at killing clumps of BCs. So I feel like just what I was saying basically would be a great way to micro that if you're fighting against someone who has a assload of BCs and you went for a composition like this. But you can see he is rotating, so it's whatever. But now he's going back into infestors again, so we'll see it again. He's actually, he is going to keep doing this composition. He just has more corruptors than he had before. And now he'll probably start adding in some Broodlord. Interesting. He's gonna, this isn't bad at all. He's gonna wipe out a command center. And if he wipes out this command center, Major or Special is going to be kind of like starving. He's really only going to have this base really like happily mining, because his other base, he's actually done a good job at not over muling. He has way more minerals than I thought he would in his main and stuff. And this base is starting to be, you know, this is starting to lose some patches too. So this base is about to start getting really thin. So this base is pretty important. This base is his fresh base. His economy won't be that bad though, because he's done a really good job spreading it out. But still, this is going to be really impactful if he loses this. This is probably going to be the beginning of losing the game. Yeah, that was painful. That puts Special in a really hard position now, where this army needs to win the next fight or he's dead. If this army does not win the next fight, Special is absolutely dead. Or, I guess if nothing happens for a while, then the game resets. Because Serral's actually kind of falling back and being a bit defensive now. Which is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I will say this, though. Really quickly, I will say this. If you ever are a Zerg player, okay, and you do the idea, you have the idea where you say, I'm going to run like 24 Banelings into a planetary fortress and kill it. That is it's kind of a risky move if your plan after that is to be defensive. There's no guarantee you're going to get the SCVs. He did those, so it's better. But the SCVs could run away while the planetary is popping Banes left and right, because the planetary fortress will kill your Banelings pretty fast. Anyways, committing that, like, the commitment of resources is more expensive for Serral than it is for Special in that trade. Like, more resources were committed for Serral to do that than what Special lost. The only thing that makes it worthwhile is that Special loses income after the fact. So now suddenly Serral's income is better than Special's, and even though Serral invested more into that attack, he's mining at a better rate afterwards. So it seems better for Serral. But the one downside is if the game were to go really passive after that happens, and both players are once again allowed to kind of rebuild whatever they had and resume mining effectively, if this game goes to a point where both players kind of like run out of minerals, it's an advantage for Special, actually, because he's being less inefficient with resources if that happens too many times. So it is something to consider. If you're not going to follow up with aggression after you do something like this, it might not always be the best move if your plan was to be passive anyways. Because all you're doing is you're giving yourself a bigger resource loss. But killing the SCVs does make it more worth it, for sure. I would say if you could kill like 22 SCVs and a planetary, I think it's worth it. But if you just kill a planetary, it is not worth it. Unless you do follow-up aggression. So I'll say, since he killed all the SCVs that just kind of sat there, it was worth it. But let's just say hypothetically those SCVs ran up to the top and like the tanks protected them and shit, it would not have been worth it. Okay, now Serral's starting to go into my territory here with more Skyzerg. He's getting rid of the Ravagers, kind of. I actually really like Neural Parasite now. Now, if Serral starts going for more neural heavy stuff, I love it. I get with the Corruptor army. It's so good with Corruptor. Really good. That was honestly a really good play by Special. What a Terran player is always going to look for is they're going to always look to maximize cooldowns. They want to kill as many Zerg units as they can that cost a lot of money with Yamato, and then just teleport before they get caught and lose their BCs, and literally repeat the process over and over and over, and make the Zerg starve. To where if they ever actually trade, the Zerg will never have a gas bank or a mineral bank to replace whatever just died. This is like a bank killer if you allow it to keep harassing you like that. Which is why, what I was saying, if you actually have Niduses rotating your infestors around with Neural, and no matter where the BCs go, if your Corruptors are already in the right position by chance, awesome. But if the BCs go to the opposite side of the map, it doesn't matter if you do that thing I said earlier with the Neural Parasite rotation and then reopen another Neural Parasite when you rotate your infestors through a Nidus. It's so fucking good. I honestly swear, dude, if BCs don't get like changed and they just this becomes a thing of ZVT, I really think Zergers will start playing like that eventually, if they don't already. It's so fucking strong. I've done it a few times myself. I was like experimenting and I randomly started doing it and I was like, wow, this is fucking really strong. So this is kind of scary, right? It's really kind of scary to just charge into the BCs when you're scanned. And the reason why, you might ask, is because a BC can cast the Yamato Cannon before it's Neural Parasited. And if a Terran player is good, if a Terran player is good, they will Yamato Cannon all of your infestors as fast as they can, which 100% will re-unlock the Neural Parasite. And if the Zerg player does not have enough army to kill the BCs, wait, hold on, let me say that again. I'm about to say it really weird. Because I was reading chat as I was saying that. If the Terran player has more than enough army to kill the Zerg after Yamatoing, he'll stay and he'll just kill the Zerg. But if the Terran player is like, okay, your army right here is kind of scary, and even though I just got like 10 Yamato cannons off and I'm about to kill a lot of your units, and it's going to unlock the Neural Parasite from a lot of my BCs, I'm going to teleport away now before you get another Neural Parasite on my BC. They have the option to do that. So this is super scary for Zerg to do it like this. Because he literally could, when these Yamato cannons go off, he could actually teleport if he wanted to. And you can see he's teleporting, but he's actually staying aggressive. Which is bold as fuck, because this is a lot of Corruptors. I think this is a bit of a overcommit. This is like a bit of a oversight for Special. This is a lot of fucking Corruptors. I would not have really been super confident to take this fight if I were him. I would, honestly, as a Terran player, again, I'm not a Terran player, and I'm just throwing ideas out here. A BC is a unit with a very high attack speed and a very shitty damage. This unit sucks balls in terms of damage against a Corruptor. It falls into the same territory as a carrier against Corruptor. In my opinion, a Terran player should only ever commit to a fight like this when the Corruptor count is like 25 plus. And how many do we have? We have 26. And a couple of them have maybe even died already in this fight. But there are still 26 Corruptors. I just want to look and see how many there were before the fight started. There are 29. He's got 29. If there's anything above 25, we're almost having a 2-to-1 ratio of BC to Corruptor here. This is not great. The only time I think carriers, battle cruisers should ever actually commit to a fight like this against Corruptor is if you have a Raven who throws an anti-armor missile into the Corruptor ball. The only time. If you get a juicy ass anti-armor missile, it's basically like his battle cruisers right now. His battle cruisers right now would be 6'3". They'd be doing fucking 11 damage a shot against these. It wouldn't really be 11 damage though. It would be -3 still because he'd have 3 armor, which it would actually equate to 0 armor now. So you have to still account for the fact that Zerg still does have armor. It's just that it gives it -3 on what he already has. So it would mean that BCs are actually doing full damage instead of only 5 damage a shot. They'd be doing 8, if that makes sense. Simply put, Raven anti-armor missile does splash debuff and makes every single unit take -3 armor, which is the equivalent of having 3 weapon upgrades on a BC, which is massive. It's fucking huge. So yeah, I don't think you should ever commit to a fight against Corruptor unless it's like only like a small amount of Corruptor, unless you have a Raven anti-armor missile. It's super important, and because Special teleports now into the army with shit that was unlocked, he's like, ah, stay, and he doesn't teleport with these. Super sketch. He's gonna lose the fight because of it. And that's kind of just what happens if you take a fight against heavy Corruptor count. And to go back and give a tiny bit more analysis, to be fair on Special's side, I honestly think the reason why he might have taken that fight is because some of his BCs were on cooldown during that fight. Because I know if Special was ever watching this, he'd be like, ViBE, you fuck. I didn't take the fight because I know what you're saying, but I took the fight because I was on cooldown. And let's see, I think he was on cooldown for like another 4 seconds. Which is why he was like, fuck it, I can't teleport away, let's just commit. I don't really want to sacrifice part of my army for no reason. And watch, as soon as a lot of the infestors die, and the Yamato is over and the BCs are no longer in a neural, his BCs still have, as you can see, some of his BCs are still on cooldown. Even though it was only 3 seconds when he made that choice, it's really hard in the moment to just have all your BCs selected and be like, oh, well, let's just quickly calculate all my BC's teleport time here. You're not going to really do that. You're just going to be like, well, look, I either can or I can't teleport. And, he might have been like, well, fuck. Some of my BCs can't teleport. We're committing. I'm just going to take the fight. So, yeah, I'm gonna just give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he made that call there. That split-second call where he's like, I have to take the fight, otherwise I sacrifice a lot of my army anyways. And taking the fight with a chance to win is a lot better than just losing half my army and guaranteeing that I lose. So it makes sense. It's a logical choice. Didn't Serral use the teleport? No. Watch. He did. Just kidding. Good call. My logic still stays the same, though. Major could have teleported away. Over time, like when the fight was already halfway over, but he decided to stay. But the you know, it's the smaller point is Major choosing to stay or not to stay for the teleport cooldown. That's like a side point. It's not actually the most important one. The big point that is the most important one is, honestly, if you're going mass BCs against corruptors and infestors, you should never actually commit to a fight if you can help it, unless you have a Raven to Seeker Missile. That's the bottom line. And if you do commit to a fight when you don't have a Seeker Missile, this is what happens. And I'm not really saying anything right now. I'm just kind of watching their movement. Sorry. Nothing's really happening anymore. I think Serral, because Serral has been so aggressive after the fact, if we like harken back for a second here to like the Banelings hitting the planetary, it has actually made a lot of difference. Things like that. It's been really good because of the fact that Serral he keeps shoving for. He's not playing on his side of the map defensively, waiting for Major to engage or Special to engage. He keeps shoving forward and forcing fights to happen, because the reason why also Special took a fight here is because he was trying to defend an expansion. That is also another reason we didn't describe. But Special doesn't really have a bank right now, and if he doesn't really defend new expansions, he's gonna lose anyways. So Serral's done a good job at hindering and hiccuping Special's economy, and now whenever Serral forces fights to happen, it's really hard for Special to remax, because you can see the difference in their banks. So I like that. Serral's this style is more aggressive. It's very aggro. It's not waiting for the Terran to make a mistake. It's forcing fights upon the Terran. And yeah, I really do agree with how he like smashed Banes into the base now, because he's playing way aggressive, up in the Terran's face basically. If you're gonna play aggressive, hitting their economy is really important. Because you can, whenever a fight like this happens where you make the Terran lose economy, it's hard for them to replace whatever dies. And if you keep the Terran defensive, your economy never gets touched. And you get to just remax whatever you lose way easier. This is going to be game over right now. Obviously, we know it's going to be game over because of the replay timer. But the reason why this is going to be game over is because this is now a hybrid army. And there's also a shitload of supply missing. Look at this. So this army is only 7 battlecruisers, 7 cyclones, and 7 Hellions. It's 777. And also 7 SCVs died. 7's the magic number today, I guess. Now, with that being said, actually there's more Hellions than that. There's somewhere down here. There's actually 9 Hellions. There's some in the bushes. But anyways, with that being said, this is what's going to happen this fight. There are still actually roaches in this army, and these roaches are actually going to be amazingly good at the fact that they're going to be able to push forward and get rid of the cyclones and the Hellions while the fungal is happening, which is going to this hybrid army now, it really needs these Cyclones to do a lot of work, because he's very low on the 7, what, 8? What are you talking about? There are 7 BCs in this army right now. Are you guys saying he has... There's 7, guys. Where's the back one? Why am I don't know why I read chat sometimes. Look, there's your Cyclone. There's your 8th Cyclone, if that's what you're saying. Jesus, chat. Reading chat is always a mistake. So yeah, it is 7 BCs, 7 Cyclones, and 9 Hellions up in this army up here. And yeah, fungal growth is going to, you know, it's gonna really just fuck the Cyclones over really bad. And if these Cyclones die, there's never gonna be anything that can stop the Corruptor. Ever. But to be fair, Special was pretty fucked. I think Special was fucked this game simply because if I'm gonna just kind of give a really quick recap, I think Serral style was it's a style that I don't normally play, but it is way more aggressive than I play, so it's a little different. But I really liked it overall. I do think if Serral actually were to use some of the stuff that I was talking about with his infestors, like if he was to evolve his infestor control a little bit, because I'm not gonna lie, okay? No disrespect to Serral, guy is like 1,000 times better than I am, but I do think that with how good he is, there is a lot of room for improvement with his infestors. Just gonna throw that one out there. I think he is an insane Zerg, and there is I think his level is above what his infestor control is this game. Personally, like I think there's more things he could be doing, and I think if the things that I was talking about with like the Niduses and the repeated fungals, not overcommitting your infestors, corrosive biling more because of that. I think if anyone could pull it off, Serral could definitely pull it off. This dude's fucking insane. I think if he were to do something like that, it would make his style even stronger. But overall, still, he committed, like he still played it very fucking well. Like I can't really shit on him for playing the way he did. He still played like a god. It's just that I think he could have done it even better. Now, with that being said, his style overall was really smart. He went for Swarm Host, repeated pressures, which is annoying for the economy of Major. How many workers died this game? 41 workers died this game. The Swarm Host Nidus was like that. It's like a synergy thing. Swarm Host Nidus is great. Roach Ravager with Infestor is great for being up in the face aggressive. Banelings was great at being aggressive. The whole theme of the style of Serral was being aggressive, shoving into Special, forcing fights to happen, and kind of whittling at the economy. It makes sense. The whole style synergizes really well together. Now, if I go to the... So, good job for him. That's why he won the game, obviously. And he was able to effectively execute that. Now, if I go to the other side of things, Special, I think his opener was amazing. His opener was really good. He had a very strong opener in this game. But I think the idea for Special, going into mass BCs, I think it was kind of flawed. Because he didn't use Raven. As simple as that. If you don't... like, I'm not even kidding. Not going Raven with mass BCs is like going mass Corruptor while not getting Infestor. And you're going... like, it'd be like having mass Corruptors go up against BCs and Cyclones. And you're like, what the fuck? I think I should be winning, but I'm not. Like, the Infestors give so much power to your army. Because it's like a really strong backbone with really critical abilities that make a big difference. And the Raven has the same ability. Getting everything to have -3 armor is so fucking game breaking. If a Zerg has to take a fight where they have -3 armor, it will literally make the Zerg die. If a Zerg takes a fight when there's a very high BC count, and let's say a lot of the not only can a lot of the Infestors die to the fact that they can be Yamato cannoned, but also, think about this, guys. What if there was like 4 Ravens? Do you guys know that 1 Raven, if it's not killed by focus fire of Corruptor or something like that, if it manages to get its spells off, 1 Raven can lock out 4 Infestors immediately with a disable. It's fucking amazing. That's super good. Not enough Terrans use Ravens when they go mass BCs. It's such a very fucking strong unit. You just have to kind of be careful with where you put it. Because a Raven could also very easily get fucked over if, like, you overcommit your Ravens for a split second and you don't realize you put them somewhere, and suddenly a Zerg knurls them and now they're all dead. That could totally happen too. But you could say the same thing about Infestors. If I walk my Infestors too far forward, they're all going to die. It's just something that you have to get used to and get careful with. But a Raven, honestly, needs to be used against a Zerg who is in-game like this when you're going mass BCs. You need fucking Ravens. You cannot just be like... Any Terran that tries to just go only BCs and is like, that should win. I don't agree with you at all. You have so much more tools at your like disposal that you're not really utilizing that are so fucking powerful. And if you did, it would make this composition even better. Sacrifice 2 fucking BCs. Or even 1. 3 Ravens. Or 6 Ravens. And suddenly your army is like twice as powerful against this shit. You know what I mean? It's so fucking strong. It would make the Zerg's life way harder if you did that. So all I can say is Major played very well, but I think he missed out on the BC or on the Ravens. That's it. Adding in Ravens would make this way better, and otherwise very well played on both sides. Both players had really strong openers into really strong mid games, but it's just missing on the Ravens, I think. And that's it, boys. That's going to be my thoughts on this replay analysis of this WCS match that just recently happened between Special and Serral. I know I called Special Major like 100 times this game, but to be fair, I don't care. He's always Major in my heart. He fucking changes his ID so much. This is actually the longest ID he's ever had, I think. Major, Special, Juanito. I fucking love the guy. He's awesome. But I really got to know him the most when he was Major, so he's always a Major in my heart. But anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you guys liked it, go check out some of my other videos. I do a lot of these. I've posted so many replay analyses at this point. There's a ton of them. And yeah, it's something you can learn, something anyone can learn if you like my information, if you like what I'm saying. Anyways, I don't know where I'm going with my outro here. It's going to start running on really bad. All I can say is thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, everybody. Goodbye.